$1 million. For most people, that number feels like it belongs to someone else. Someone who got lucky, someone who was born into the right family, or someone who made some wild investment that paid off. But here's what the data actually shows. The majority of millionaires in the United States are not celebrities, not tech founders, and not lottery winners. They are ordinary people with ordinary incomes who made consistent decisions over a long period of time. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to become one of them starting from zero, using one of the most reliable investment tools available and doing it before you turn 50. We're going to go through the real math, the real strategy, and the real habits. No hype, no shortcuts. Let's get into it.
The first thing I want to address is the idea that you need money to make money. That's one of the most damaging myths in personal finance because it gives people a reason to never start. The truth is that time is worth more than money when it comes to building wealth. A person who starts investing $500 a month at age 20 will end up with significantly more money than someone who starts investing $1,000 a month at age 35, even though the second person is putting in more money each month. That's the power of starting early and staying consistent. So if you're sitting at zero right now, that's okay. The goal of this video is to show you how to get that $500 a month freed up, where to put it, and what it turns into over time. Because the number that matters most right now isn't how much you have, it's how soon you start.
Before we talk about investing, we need to talk about where the $500 comes from. Because if you're starting with nothing, that money has to come from your income, and that means we need a system. The system I recommend is called the 50-30-20 rule. Here's how it works. 50% of your take-home income goes to needs. These are the non-negotiables: rent or mortgage, groceries, utilities, transportation, insurance, the things you cannot function without. 30% goes to wants: dining out, entertainment, subscriptions, travel, things that make life enjoyable but aren't strictly necessary. And 20%, this is the important one, goes directly to savings and investments. Before you do anything else with that 20%, it goes to work for your future. Let's put real numbers on this. If you bring home $3,000 a month after taxes, 20% is $600. That's more than our $500 target. If you bring home $2,500, 20% is $500 exactly. The key habit here is to treat your investment contribution like a bill. It gets paid first, automatically, before you touch anything else. Set up an automatic transfer on payday so the decision is never left to willpower. If $500 feels impossible right now, start with $100 or $200 and build up. The habit matters more than the amount in the beginning.
Now let's talk about where that $500 goes every month. And to do that, I need to explain what an index fund actually is, because this term gets thrown around a lot without anyone actually breaking it down. An index fund is a type of investment that tracks a collection of companies, rather than betting on just one. Think of it like this. Instead of picking one horse to win a race, you own a small piece of every horse in the race. Some will underperform, but the overall group tends to move forward over time. The most well-known index is the S&P 500, which stands for Standard & Poor's 500. It tracks the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the United States. Companies like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. When these companies collectively grow, your investment grows with them. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned an average of about 10% per year over the long term. That doesn't mean it goes up 10% every single year. Some years it drops, some years it surges, but averaged out over decades, 10% is the historical benchmark. An ETF, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund, is simply the wrapper that holds the index fund. It trades on the stock market like a regular stock, but represents a basket of many companies at once. Low cost, diversified, and beginner-friendly.
Now, there are several ETFs that track the S&P 500. The most popular ones are VOO from Vanguard and SPY from State Street. So why am I talking about SPUS? the SP Fund's S&P 500 Sharia ETF instead. Here's the case for it, and it comes down to what you're actually investing in. Standard S&P 500 ETFs like VOO and SPY include every company in the index, including banks that profit primarily from lending and interest, weapons manufacturers, alcohol producers, tobacco companies, and highly speculative financial firms. When you buy VOO or SPY, your money supports all of those businesses proportionally. SPUS screens those out. It removes companies whose primary business involves conventional banking and interest-based lending, alcohol, tobacco, weapons manufacturing, and other sectors considered harmful or purely speculative. What you're left with is a cleaner portfolio of companies that generate revenue through real products, real services, and real innovation. Now, here's what matters to you as an investor. SPUS has tracked competitively with the broader S&P 500 over time. The companies that get screened out are not the ones driving the most growth. The technology sector, consumer goods, healthcare, industrials, those stay in. And those are the sectors that have powered the S&P 500's returns for decades. The expense ratio, which is the annual fee the fund charges you, is 0.45% for SPUS. To put that in plain numbers, on a $10,000 investment, you'd pay $45 a year in fees. That's slightly higher than VOO, which sits at 0.03%, but still extremely low compared to actively managed funds that can charge 1% or more and still underperform the market. So you get broad market exposure, strong historical performance, a cleaner set of holdings, and a very low cost.
To buy it, you'll need a brokerage account. Fidelity and Charles Schwab are both beginner-friendly, free to open, and allow you to buy SPUS with no trading commission. The ticker symbol is SPUS.
Now let's get to the part everyone came here for, the actual math. Here are the numbers. You invest $500 every single month. Your average annual return is 10%, in line with the S&P 500's long-term historical average. You do this consistently for 30 years. The result? Approximately $1,030,000. $500 a month, 10% average annual return, 30 years, over $1 million. Here's what makes that number remarkable. Out of that $1,030,000, you personally only contributed $180,000. That's 500 times 12 months times 30 years. The remaining $850,000 came from compound growth. The market did most of the work. You just had to stay consistent and leave it alone.
Compound growth is the most important concept in this entire video, so let me explain it clearly. Compounding means you earn returns not just on the money you put in, but also on the returns you've already earned. It's growth on top of growth. In the early years, it feels slow. In the later years, it accelerates dramatically, and that's where the million comes from. Here's how the journey actually looks year by year. Year 1, your $6,000 invested grows to about $6,300. That extra $300 doesn't feel like much. Year 10, your balance is around $102,000. Year 20, you're sitting at roughly $382,000. Year 30, you cross $1 million. The curve gets steeper every single year. That's compounding, and the only thing that can stop it is pulling your money out early or stopping contributions altogether. So the number one rule, leave it alone and keep going. You can verify this math yourself using the free compound interest calculator at investor.gov. Just plug in $500 as the monthly contribution, 10% as the annual return, and 30 years as the time period, and you'll see the exact same number.
The math is simple. The hard part is the behavior. So here are the 4 habits that will determine whether this plan works for you. Habit 1, automate everything. Set up an automatic monthly transfer from your checking account into your brokerage account on the same day you get paid. Remove the decision entirely. Humans are bad at consistently choosing the future over the present. Automation fixes that problem completely. Habit 2, never stop during a market dip. There will be years where your portfolio drops 10, 20, even 30%. This feels terrible. Every instinct tells you to pull out and stop the bleeding. Do not. When the market dips, your $500 that month buys more shares at a lower price. When it recovers, and historically it always has, those cheaper shares grow the most. Staying in during downturns is one of the biggest advantages regular investors have over people who panic sell. Habit 3, increase your contribution as your income grows. If you get a raise, increase your monthly investment before you increase your lifestyle. Going from $500 to just $700 a month adds hundreds of thousands of dollars to your final number over 30 years. Habit 4, do not touch it. This is not a savings account for emergencies. Keep a separate emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a basic account, so you never have to pull from your investments early. Early withdrawal breaks the compounding chain.
And depending on the account type, may come with tax penalties on top of the loss. Follow these 4 habits alongside the $500 monthly investment into SPUS, and the math takes care of the rest.
$1 million before 50 is not a fantasy. It is a math problem, and you now know how to solve it. Start with the 50-30-20 rule to free up your $500. Open a brokerage account on Fidelity or Schwab. Search the ticker SPUS. Buy every single month. Automate it. Leave it alone. And let 30 years of compound growth do what it does. The only version of this plan that fails is the one you never start. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.